Nice
You're
to
all
see
right?
you.
Yes, how are you?
Everything's good. Everything's good. It's great to catch up with you here in these modern times of post-COVID and new albums. So it's good to see you.
Yes, it's an exciting time. So,
So, before we get into the album, I want to know kind of, you know, is there a sense of relief now that we're out of this COVID period? New album is out, live shows, all of that. How did you survive it? And how does it feel right now?
it's interesting because this album is sort of the product of feeling all of the emotions during the pandemic. And so a lot of the material, I mean, all of the material for this record was written during that time, kind of channeling some of those emotions and just like trying to cope essentially with the situation. So the whole um, creation of the project, from the writing stage through actually getting a chance to perform the music after lockdown when gigs started to come back, to recording it, and now to releasing it now that things are maybe as close to normal as they have been. Um, it's just kind of an interesting, uh, I guess, sort of, it kind of sums it all up for me, or it kind of just this project really uh, kind of, I guess it's just all about that. And so getting this album out and finally getting it released, this new music recently recorded with my band here in KC, it's been very, like, it's been a challenging project for those reasons, but getting the music out, it's been healing. It's exciting to get it out now and get it into the world. And so it's just an exciting time to finally get this music out there. I think it has helped me sort of heal through the process of dealing with all of that. And it's exciting to be able to release, like you said, some new music. Um, and then as far as work outside of the record too, it's nice to be playing again. It's nice to be having those musical relationships that you've developed over the years. It's nice to um, be able to just be in situations where you can play and enjoy making music with people, and that's true of all genres. So it's good to be back to, as at least as close to normal as we've got.
Yeah.
But it is an exciting time for sure.
So We Need the Wind is the name of the new album. What was kind of the idea behind the title?
Sure. Excuse me.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we Need the Wind. There's a lot of um, sort of, there are several things on the album that were inspired by my interest in sort of practice in Buddhism, and definitely something that I was trying to, you know, use and reference, like the Dhammapada and stuff during the pandemic, as just you know help essentially. And so one of the things in the Buddhist tradition is this idea of the Buddhist prayer flags. And so on each of the there's five colors of the flags, and on each of the flags there's a Sanskrit writing, and essentially it's a prayer, but not in like the conventional way that we would know a prayer. Words of wisdom, kind of trying to pass hope and just positivity and message and things. So given the state of the world in recent years, particular during the pandemic, We Need the Wind was sort of the idea that we need those messages to be spread, and unity and healing and empathy and understanding, uh, and not from any sort of perspective. Again, the idea that the wind was what was carrying these messages, off of these flags and carrying them wherever it took it. That sort of organic, you know, uh, dispersal or passing along of these ideas and positivity and things, um, just kind of really resonated with me. So as I started to think in that in that space, that title sort of came to mind. And again, as the project sort of came together as a whole, um, it just seemed like an appropriate title, not only for one of the tunes, but for the album as a whole.
So you talked about having an ensemble of Kansas City musicians around you, and again, this is another evolved sound that you've gone into in your career. Talk to me about the cast that you picked and how you artistically arrived at kind of this collection of song.
Sure. So, very fortunate to have a great lineup of people here in town to play with. Not only to record with, but also to play live gigs with. It's really an amazing thing. So, the record features Matt Otto on tenor saxophone. Roger Wilder is playing Fender Rhodes, which was a very cool sonic quality for the music that I was really pleased with. Jeff Harshbarger on the bass and Brian Steever on drums.
Wow.
Uh, it's a great lineup. They're all, I mean, I say this frequently about some of the people here in town, but I think they could live anywhere and play anywhere. And the fact that they live here and play here, Kansas City is very lucky. And I consider myself even more lucky that I'm able to, call on these people to bring, my music to life. So, I think, each one of these players is a great musician. I think their artistry is incredibly high. They've got really unique and wonderful musical personalities. And so when the group comes together, I think there's just a lot of character to the ensemble. And I try to make that sort of a component of the group is that, we should allow people's personalities to shine. It's not trying to force things or it has to be a certain way. I think, um, there's an organic nature that I like to the music, uh, and I think the allowing people's personalities to shine through, and just demonstrate, their artistry and their musicianship. I think that's a sort of a core pillar for me of the sound of the group. Um, yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, there's so many qualities to each of the players. Like, sort of in the lead up to the release here, I've been doing like a meet the band series on my social media where I talk a little bit about my experiences working with different people, um, and talk a little bit about them so that the audiences can kind of learn a little bit more. So if people are interested in some of those specifics, I do kind of dig and dive into that a little bit. But yeah, it's just a great sound. It's been really fun to kind of live with as we recorded and then mixed and mastered and all of that, and hear it all come together. But the Fender Rhodes was definitely something that I was really interested in utilizing.
Yeah.
Um, Always a sound I've really loved, but not actually a sound I'd heard on like a trombone small group album, with one exception. There's this trombonist by the name of Andy Hunter who did a small group album. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And he had the Rhodes on it. So I was kind of like doing, some listening and things. And I heard a little bit of that. And I was like, I love that sound. I'm not sure why it's not something that we have explored more in the small group space with trombone. So there may be more records out there that I just am not familiar with, but it was a sound that I really liked. I think it just brings, like, especially with the way that I write music, I think it's just a sort of a perfect pairing of that sound quality and sort of what I hear in my head. So um, that sound is great, and then I think pair that with Roger Wilder, and you're going to be very pleased with the results. So which I definitely am.
So since the first time I saw you at Homer's Coffee, and that was in the beginning of your career. Things have evolved, things have been on the up and up. You've gotten, national PR people that are pushing your material out. How are you feeling right now here in 2024 with your career, your sound, what you're doing, live shows, new album? How does all this feel right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm very pleased with sort of where I'm at artistically in sort of my research and things that I'm doing with some educational stuff and my teaching, uh, in my personal life. Like, and I think all of that sort of comes together. Um, it's just really an exciting time. I think we all have calling them all growing pains is not the most accurate, but there's just stuff that we grow through and evolve, and um, I think that's a process of discovery, and that was true of my writing style and trying to, again, sort of this idea of personality, not reject that personality. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. And I do think that that's something that in this process of writing this music for this new record was something that I tried to be in tune with. And I think part of that was fueled by just the emotions of the moments that each of these compositions were written in. But I think that sort of development as a trombonist, as an artist, and things has just come through more experiences as a band leader, as a sideman, playing with different groups and things, and just being comfortable with with the individualism kind of thing, that it's going to be what it's going to be, and I'm going to make the music I want to make in the manner, write the music I want to write, play with the people I want to play with. And I think artistically speaking, that has led to just a freedom. I don't have to try to fit in a box or anything. I can channel different sources of inspiration and things. But I mean, if this is also the second record, so that's an exciting thing. Like you said, we talked a few years ago about Sunflower Song, and debut record's a big deal and something I was super proud of. But to now have done it twice is an exciting thing. I'm really proud of, and I think there's just a sort of a level of comfortability, if that's a word, with just sort of things, and not trying to force situations. Musically, personally, things seem to sort of take care of themselves. Not that you can't take ownership on a situation, but just like I think there's a balance of the relentless pursuit and also allowing things to come to you, and that sort of patience, but knowing when to press, and kind of dig into an idea is something I've become more comfortable with. So I'm very, very fortunate to have a great support system. And I think that helps too, as I've sort of worked through the years and found my voice and just kind of become more comfortable with myself as an individual. So I am very pleased. Life is good. I consider myself very fortunate for the musical opportunities I have, and grateful for personal lives, support system. So I feel very lucky, and I'm just happy to be able to share this music with people.
So We Need the Wind comes out on Outside in Music tomorrow, Friday, February 23rd. Do you do anything special on release day? You have live shows coming up. What's going on?
Sure. So, yes, the record comes out tomorrow. Super exciting. Again, it's a day that doesn't come around very often. These projects are massive labors of love and, blood, sweat, and tears, to use the very common expression, but just like financial investment, personal investment, again, sacrifices from my wife and my family in certain situations. Like bringing this project to life takes a lot. And so I'm just trying to take time today and tomorrow to carve out space to just reflect and have gratitude for the moment and really take in tomorrow. It's a very exciting day. So that is part of it. I'm also getting a massage tomorrow. That's my other treat to myself as a sort of gratitude towards the self thing. But I do have a release show in Kansas City on Sunday, 25th at 2 p.m. Westport Coffee House. So we're gonna sort of get the record out tomorrow and then officially celebrate the release on Sunday, and then at that point, see where the music goes, and most importantly, get it out, let people enjoy it. It's a record I'm super proud of, and I just can't wait for people to hear it.
Well, it's been so good to see you evolve over the years. It's great to see the sophomore release. Brian, thank you again for coming back to Neon Jazz. Best of luck. Have a blast tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll see you out live again out on the scene, man.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.